Today I'm here talking about resident rights and answering the question of what are resident rights based on my experience as an expert witness and the right of having a resident representative for people who live in care communities, nursing homes, assisted living, personal care homes, board and care homes. Resident rights is really a big question with a lot of answers because there are a variety of resident rights. Resident rights are a protection under state and federal laws regarding the care and services that an older adult receives in a community. And I've been deeply involved in resident rights over the past 25 years as care manager, a medical and financial power of attorney, a guardian, a conservator, and a trustee for elderly and disabled adults. Many of these individuals for whom I was responsible lived in personal care homes, board and care homes, adult care homes, residential care homes, assisted living, memory care communities, and nursing homes. I was the caregiving expert and the resident representative for these individuals, which means that I was in part, along with them, responsible for overseeing their care, their well-being, and in some cases their financial matters. I worked with the care community staff and medical providers, the ombudsman, and other people to make sure that their care was important and paid attention to, right? Because sometimes care for people can be neglected. Someone's care can be less important than another person in that care community if somebody is being the squeaky wheel for this resident, but not for this resident. So stay with me while I explain resident rights specific to having a resident representative and what this means for you or a loved one in care home. I'm Pamela D. I'm a caregiving expert with expertise in health, financial, legal aspects of caregiving, including navigating family relationships. I also serve as an expert witness for law firms. You can learn more about my professional background by visiting my website, PamelaDWilson.com, going to the services button and clicking on one of the expert tabs. There's also links below this video. So if you are an older adult or you are a caregiver for an older adult who lives in any type of residential care community, realize that the person, so your loved one, can designate you as their resident representative so that you can advocate for them. There's usually a form in the community to do that, and it's usually in the admission agreement. And be sure that when your loved one or you sign as power of attorney for your loved one, you read every single page, every single line in those admission agreements, because it does include information about resident rights. And so what is a resident representative? Well, it's an individual who the person in the care home designates and who agrees, so there has to be some kind of an agreement, to serve as the resident representative. So yes, I will do this for you, mom or dad or grandpa or a family friend. Resident representatives can also be legally responsible parties, such as a medical power of attorney, financial power of attorney, guardian, conservator, or trustee. However, the legal responsibility is not a requirement to be a resident representative. And I'll give you an example. So let's say an elderly parent has a medical and a financial power of attorney, and it says, I am my own person, I'm my own decision maker until the time that I have dementia and 2 physicians certify that I can no longer make decisions. So that's kind of called a springing power of attorney, which means that legal responsibility for the child or the person named as the agent only takes effect when there is a designation of incapacity. And so even if a person has capacity, even if they can make all their own decisions, they can still designate a resident representative who's not in a legal role. Many times this is done because if you are the resident, you probably have some health issues. If your parent's the resident, maybe they've been in and out of the hospital, they're sick, they don't feel well, so they can't advocate as well for themselves. And so a resident representative can be that person. And so what does a resident representative do? Well, they attend initial care conferences and quarterly care conferences with the person that they're the resident for and the staff at the care community to find out what's going on, what care is being provided, what other options are there for care. The resident representative can serve as a point of contact. So the person who is called, emailed, text messaged with updates from the care staff in the community, from maybe a doctor who visits the community, somebody else. The resident representative can also help the resident, their loved one, evaluate information and make decisions. Well, do I take this medication? Should I have this procedure? Should I do this? Should I do that? Look at the pros and the cons. Resident representatives always advocate for the resident's needs and what the resident tells them that they want. Resident representatives, again, they can receive information about the resident's care plan, any types of changes in conditions. So if mom or dad all of a sudden gets sick, that resident representative can receive a phone call. Resident representatives can help with financial matters like making sure that community gets paid, their bills get paid. They can also give consent for a procedure, again, if the resident's not able to do so and they have gave that permission to the resident representative. Resident representatives can receive notifications about changes in insurance status. So Medicare usually pays for 20 days. After that, it's a different type of Medicare. It's B, and so there may be co-pays involved. They can receive information about bills, transfers, hospital discharges, all of that. So if you are a caregiver and you have a loved one in a care community, make sure that your spouse or mom and dad or grandparent has designated someone to be their resident representative. Now, it could be you, could be their best friend, it could be somebody else in the family, but you want to have a second contact so that if something happens, somebody else knows what's going on. And it's very important to make that resident representative contact information clear to all the staff in the care community, so that that resident representative is advised and contacted in all situations. Because I can tell you, sometimes it just doesn't happen. It's not unusual for the staff to take a shortcut because it's easy. So they tell the resident, they tell your mom or dad, oh, you're going to be discharged in 3 days, or oh this, or oh that, or we're going to have you sign this form. And then the resident representative doesn't find out, and it's like, oh my gosh, why didn't somebody tell me? So in that case, you do want written documentation in your chart to say, you can tell me, but I also want you to call, text, or email this person who is my resident representative so that they know everything that I know, because they may have some other questions. They may have questions for you. I want all of this to work smoothly. That is a very important resident right. Having a resident representative can be so immensely helpful in all aspects of care. So if you have any questions about resident rights, other resident rights, or you'd like a one-on-one consultation to discuss the care or the care of a family member, you can visit my website, PamelaDWilson.com, click on the Services tab, and then scroll down to Elder Care Consultant. If you are a law firm watching this, you can do the same. You can go to PamelaDWilson.com, Services tab, click one of the expert witness links, and fill out a form, and I will contact you. I thank you all so much for being here. I will see you all again soon in another video, and please do follow my channel, like this video, comment, even if it's only to say thanks. Your participation helps other people find their way here.